Okay, so welcome and thank you everybody so much for joining us this evening. The theme for tonight is focus your intention and energy, and I've just been inspired by some of the goals that Renee and I have been setting this month, and thought I'd just share some of the insight that sometimes you don't really get unless you get told, I guess. Like, this is something that was actually, we didn't know until we were told. So I want to make sure that you guys know about some of the secrets behind rank advancing and how you can really focus your energy on the intention and behind rank advancing. So I'm going to be talking about that. We've also got the lovely Madi Cadby. Hey Madi, who's going to be talking about Rose Touch, so thank you so much for doing that. And Vanessa is also going to be providing an introduction for the 4 agreements too, which I'm really looking forward to. And as usual, upcoming events, monthly wrap, and some parting words of wisdom. So without further delay, our June monthly wrap, Oh My BOGO volume. I'm sure you guys who actually embraced BOGO last month experienced rank advancements, a lot of movement, a lot of collaboration. In particular, I saw these guys mentioned here amongst many more that I don't have written there, so sorry if I've missed your name, but who actually created some BOGO teams, some relay teams, and experienced some rank advancements in your team, which we get to share in a moment. These lovely people here have ranked to elite, so thank you so much and congratulations, guys. Celebration time. And more importantly, we have these amazing premieres that have stepped up and rank advanced in June. So from Vanessa Teklenburg's team, we have Lauren Butler, who is pictured, and Leona Appleby. So congratulations to these guys. Awesome work. And from the lovely Vicky Drennan's team, we have the lovely Madi Cadby. Lots of lovelies there. In front of the 3 sisters at Elite Retreat. Like the pic. Very cool. So awesome effort there, Madi. How long ago did you start? Do you want to share? How long have you been sharing doTERRA?
I think I really started to embrace the business about the month before convention.
Awesome.
But I've been using for about 12 months now.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well done to rank advance to premiere and just get in there and get it done, as we learned at Elite Retreat.
Just do it.
Just do it. Maddie's a no muck around, get the job done kind of girl. So very well done.
Thank you.
And from Team Lavender and Friends, we've had 2 magnificent premiere rank advancements. So congratulations to Danielle Spiteri and also to Erin Cole. Congratulations, guys. Awesome effort there. Magnificent. Jill Ford also doing a fantastic job with her team and taking advantage of BOGO, getting that volume up to rank advance. Without further delay, I'm going to hand the mic over to Madi. Take it away.
Thank you. So tonight I'm talking a little bit about Rose Touch. I guess this has become one of my favorite oils. When we talk about it in terms of emotions, looking in the Essential Oils and Emotions book, it's the oil of divine love. And I think that's where I've really embraced this oil. It's got the highest vibration of all the oils. And it really encourages us to heal through love and to give and receive love. And I think remembering as well that we are all worthy of receiving love, but we should also remember that others are worthy of receiving it as well. So I think Rose really embraces us to do that. And as well as using it on my little boy to kind of wrap him up in a little rose bubble of love. I think it's important to teach our boys and young men about emotions and how to deal with them, processing them and being able to feel them fully. So I think Rose really supports him and myself in that. Its top properties, it's a stimulant, improves brain function, and it helps to thin mucus as well. So I've used it a lot on him. He had chronic bronchiolitis when he was younger, so I constantly am putting it on him this winter over his chest and on his back, just to help support his chest. And we haven't had any bronchiolitis this season, so that is amazing. I think that's all I've got.
That is awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Maddie.
No worries.
You did a fantastic job. You said stimulant, and I can definitely vouch for that. Being the highest vibrating oil, just applying it over your heart chakra increases your vibration, and you notice it. People around you notice it. So this is a great one to balance the heart chakra, open the heart to love. And I love that bit that you mentioned as well about teaching your little boy, your little man, about emotional intelligence and having that masculine emotional intelligence and balance. It's so important. Teaching that to our boys and our men. Very, very cool. Love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome back anytime. All right, so I'm going to now focus a bit on focusing your energy and rank advancing. So you guys may have seen this exciting diagram that's in the build guide, of which we should be sharing with people at the appropriate opportunity. Perhaps it might be a little bit daunting for some people. As you know, we always start with earn your oils for free, but then when somebody does want to look at the income opportunity, when we ask them, then we can share that opportunity with these people. So really exciting what you guys can earn, going from Premier. A lot of you, and I recommend a lot of people should be structuring and shooting for Premier from day one when they have that intention to actually build a business or earn their oils for free, is to have a structure working underneath them. So without further delay, we'll get on into the nitty-gritty of the steps involved in how you can actually focus your energy and rank advance. So the first question you need to ask yourself, where do you need to focus, and actually find the relevant rank planner. This is really important to be using the correct rank planner, because you could be brand new to the business, only a couple of weeks or months in, and you might start filling out a silver rank planner or a gold rank planner, and it might be a little disheartening when you don't actually meet that goal, especially if it's like a month goal or something like that. So I recommend either using the Elite or the Premier planner to start with. You can get all of these rank planners from our Google Drive under the Share Success folder. To get to our Google Drive, you can go to our Share Build group or to our website and get to it from there. If you're lost, I will also share the link once I post this recording tonight. So then the second step, and one of the most important things you should be doing when you first set out to have that intention of sharing the oils, earning them for free, or replacing, or perhaps subsidizing, or also multiplying your income. So set your goals, make them realistic with your rank planner. You also have long-term goals. Rank planners are short-term goals. They're what you're going for in the next month or the next 2 or 3 months. So set your goals, make them realistic, refine your why. This is something that we're constantly working on, guys. As you guys are evolving and growing, this is an opportunity when you do your rank advancement or you do your rank planner, that you actually refine that why. get it down to a sentence that you can actually share with people that you come into contact with. And then the third, and I feel the most important part about doing a rank planner, is you get to actually anchor in a very powerful affirmation statement. That's in the top right-hand corner there. I am Premier on or before this date. So really affirming, the date. I'm just looking down the screen. My mother-in-law has joined me. Hello, Sharon. And so I am Premier on or before this date, and I feel this. So it's affirming that rank advancement on that date and anchoring it in with an emotion. And it's really important to feel and visualize both of those things as you move into that goal and making it come to fruition. So actually, that's the coming into alignment and setting the goals and having the right intention in order to focus your energy in a certain part of your organization. So in step 3 here, we get really specific about where we're going to focus our energy. And this is the really good practical side of the rank planner, because we go into our tree where you can actually look back at the previous 3 months. And actually was meant to put this in a couple of slides, but if you have any problems, I'm more than happy to go over this. I've also got a video of how to fill out a rank planner, and I'll share that when I share this video later on tonight. And that just goes into doing the rank planner in a bit more detail. But you can see here in this rank planner, I've got 2 legs of executive going for Premier, and you can see in my second leg, which is usually the case because you've built your first one first and your second one second, is I need 1,000 volume to get that to executive. So underneath Eliza, I can see I've got 1,000 volume that's either scheduled, or I can look at the history over the past 3 months and go, yep, okay, Eliza was 800 2 months ago, and then last month she was at 1,200. So I'm going to average out that and say I can expect to have about 1,000 through that leg through LRP. You can actually go through and calculate the LRP. I do it really easy, and I just look at the history and the volume, and I look for a pattern and just average out over the last 3 months. So once we have the volume required in that second leg, we can divide that by 500, which is the average volume from a class, and say, okay, well, I need to do 2 classes in there. Or perhaps I don't do classes and I only do one-on-ones. So then I'd probably have to do about 8 one-on-ones, because the average amount of enrollments are around about 4, 3 or 4 at a class, depending on how many attendees you have. So there's more than one way to do this. Obviously, classes are the best thing to do. So if you're working with Eliza, getting her to book those classes coming up that month, and then you've also got another volume requirement of 5,000 overall as Premier. So you can see I need to put most of my energy in those 2 parts, organise some of my own classes, as well as getting Eliza to run some. And then in my first leg, there's not as much energy required there. So I'm not focusing all of my attention or most of my attention there, I'm focusing it in my second leg. And then I encourage you guys to get creative with some incentives. So at the bottom of your rank planner, there's also a space there to maybe just refine or come up with some new ideas of how you can incentivize enrollments. So for us, what we do is we give everybody a mini modern essentials guide, a wild orange. You can also give people a couple of rollerballs. You can perhaps incentivize a wellness consult. We just put a certificate up in our share build group where anyone books a wellness consult, does it, and then goes on LRP in the following month of 125 PV, then they can get a free Essential Life or Modern Essentials book. So depending on what you're comfortable in taking on, this is a really good incentive or investment into your business for repeat orders and solid volume coming through your organization. It's really important to also incentivize booking classes and perhaps enrollments as well. So I've just shared 2 incentives that we're going to be running this month with those legs. that we're focusing our attention on. So doTERRA, they have these fantastic incentives, and we're going to go over in the next slide how you can be mindful of incentives that doTERRA are providing. But also, I encourage you to look at providing your own incentives on those legs that are perhaps your weaker legs, or you're just new starting legs, and run your own type of diamond club in those legs to encourage people to enroll and also enroll others. So for us in July, we're incentivizing enrollments. Anybody who gets a kit, so the language is just really light, there's no wording of enroll. Anybody who gets a kit in July, they can get a free grapefruit worth $27 retail. And we're saying this is only available for specific people that that we're offering this to. It's not available to the whole community. And I'm going to talk about how we can actually communicate these offers. And just touching on this, don't feel like other parts of your organisation are missing out, because there's going to be other incentives and other things, other forms of support that you're going to be providing other parts of your organisation. But you've kind of got to be really focused and a little selfish to a sense on providing these incentives to what's going to help you rank advance and what's going to stimulate growth and volume in those specific areas that you're focusing on. And then the other incentive that we're also offering this month for these focused areas in our organisation, and then actually going to be your newer legs, is encouraging others to enrol. So earn your oils for free. If you earn your oils for free and enrol for other people in July, then you're going to get a free frankincense. So I'm not encouraging you all to go out and buy a heap of frankincense and provide this. Being Blue Diamonds, we do have the ability to invest a little bit more than perhaps a premier or somebody who's just starting out as a league. But it doesn't mean that you can't incentivize with something like an elevation, or you could be more theme specific and do On Guard or Easy Air, winter theme specific. So really encouraging these people to get out there and refer friends and to enroll them. So that's the fourth step, which is something that we weren't really aware of until we stepped outside of the training that we had been receiving and had a look at how other people were doing that were rank advancing around us, and been really happy for them. And this is really important because there's so many rank advancements going on at the moment. I want you guys to celebrate everybody that rank advances, and any form of jealousy that comes up, I want you to transmute that to intrigue and inspiration and approach them and say, how did you do it? What did you do? Everybody in the doTERRA community is going to tell you. We were talking to our friends Ben and Haley Weesey, who just ranked as Blue Diamonds last month, and we were talking to them and saying, so what did you guys do? And that provided a bit of inspiration for us to rank as Blue Diamonds again. So yeah, just ask and apply it to yourself and to your teams. So the fifth step that I've just added in here is to be really mindful of what doTERRA's incentives are. So in July and August, we've got the LLV promotion, which I absolutely love, because this is really teaching people how the benefits of one of doTERRA's anchor products, something that people can put on their LRP on a monthly basis. Excuse me. So when I say be mindful of doTERRA's incentive, is in July, you would focus all of your intention on generating enrollments, because in August, you're going to be focusing all your intention and energy on teaching people the benefits of LRP and LLV. You want to be supporting people and looking for the repeat order sustainable volume. So just be mindful of what's up and coming, and this is something that you can adopt over July and August into your team and organisation. So the sixth step is it's really important to communicate and collaborate with your team, your focused team and legs. So once again, there may be a sense of, oh, you know, I'm abandoning the rest of my team that I'm not focusing my energy on. But by the time you're focusing your energy on specific parts of your organization, you're still there supporting your team. And there will be other forms of collaboration, of support that you can provide for these team members. It may even come to the end of the month and you're really close to hitting rank and you decide to buy in some volume, and you can provide some oils for those team members that you weren't focusing your energy on to rank advance, to help stimulate their growth and their teams as well. And I'll talk a little bit about buy-in in a moment. But something that some teams have been doing as of late, which I'm loving, and I want to do myself, but I'm loving that teams are taking the initiative to do this, is business immersion days. So you can see there that just getting together and working, just being in that energy and that enthusiasm. What are you doing? What's going on here? And then coming together and perhaps doing some form of activity in between to break it up, maybe some yoga or meditation. Facebook Messenger, we use a lot of texting. As you can see, there's a big phone there. Texting and Facebook, and arranging a time to either connect over Zoom or face-to-face is probably the best form to communicate with your team, with your people. And this also goes out to customers as well. Obviously, there's MailChimp too. Not as much engagement there, but it's still a great tool that you can use to get your incentives out there in those focus legs. Come up with a focused mailing list and send out those focused incentives to a limited group of people, and encourage them to participate. So the seventh step, I think this is kind of a no-brainer, but we have to include it, right? Because we can't forget that the fortune is in the follow-up. Like, we have to be following these people up. So these incentives that we're providing, it's the same as when I provide a sample to someone. If I provide a sample to someone and I don't get their contact details, or I get their contact details and I don't follow them up, I may as well be just giving that sample away. We need to be following up. We can't forget that. And don't be scared of the no's. It just means not yet. We have had people come around, 3 years later. It's just when they're ready. So fortune is in the follow-up. So I have a couple of little tips here before I pass it over to the lovely Vanessa Teklenburg. I'm just looking at the time, and I'm going good for time because we're at 8 o'clock, Vanessa. I did say 8 o'clock, I think. So what are your buy-in limits? So this is good to be aware of. This isn't information that doTERRA freely provides to the public. So this is a bit of an insight for you guys. This is not information that you want to go and openly share with everybody. So doTERRA do this because they want to provide the opportunity for people to be able to just push that little bit further, to be able to help them to rank advance. But then they also want to protect the leadership bonus pools. They want it to be organic. They want it to be real. They want people to actually have gone out there and doing the things that you're meant to do, inviting, enrolling, educating, etc., making it sustainable and real, not just buying into diamond. So we've got a couple of thresholds there of how much doTERRA is saying that you can actually buy in yourself in your downline. Because, and while I'm on this tip topic, and it's come up, I should have included this in this slide, is you should only be putting through 125 or 200 PV at max through your own account. And then all other volume, all other orders that you're placing should be in your downline, but also being mindful of what doTERRA's limits are as well. So silver is quite low. Silver is quite low at a 150 PV. There is no threshold for Premier, and that's because they don't get a portion of the leadership bonus pools. They do get the empowerment bonus, but not a portion of the leadership bonus pools. And then we have gold at 500, platinum, 1200 diamond. You can see the figures there. And just, I'll put this image in here just to remind me to let you guys know that it's important to be aware of what your rank requirements are. So there's a great blog that's good to refer to start ingraining into your mind what those requirements are for the various ranks. So for director, we know that's 1,000 volume. Executive is 2,000. Elite is 3,000. There's no structuring requirements for any of these ranks. And then we go to Premier, and there's a structuring requirement. So this is why we have the intention when we're going to build, we start structuring from the beginning. So we don't get to Premier and go, oh, well, I've got 30 people on my line. So we get to Elite and start to look at Premier and go, I've got 30 people on my top line, got no structure, and you have to basically start from scratch. And likewise, as you're moving up, so you're mindful of what those requirements are. Silver, you need 3 elites. Gold, you need 3 premiers. Platinum, you need 3 silvers. Diamond, you need 4 silvers. So know what these rank requirements are. So some tips here on how you can reinvest. So you could do some LRP incentives. I know Vicky Drennan does this in her Essential Wellbeing Warriors Facebook group, where she encourages people to do 125 PV LRP and then to say done on her post, and then those people go in the draw to win this prize. And this prize, it could be a couple of oils, exotic oils that have a good PV to dollar ratio and are going to help you get that volume up to rank advance. But then you're also investing it back into your team. And this is what I was talking before about how the greater team is going to benefit when you do rank advance and when you do reinvest back into your organization, into your business, that you can provide these incentives for the whole team. Testimonial giveaways. This is something Renee recently did in our Share Build group, and just got people to share an experience with essential oils, or inviting people into the group, and then making it a draw, or making it an incentive. When you follow a certain set of steps, then you get this for free. Team rank advancements. So when you're investing to rank advancement and your team rank advances, then you could be giving oils back to your team that you've worked closely with, that has come halfway and helped you achieve your goals, and saying, I'm going to give you these oils and you can run your own little diamond club with these oils and incentivize with some of the ideas that we've been sharing tonight. So keeping in mind that I am blabbering on a bit, I'm going to pass the mic over to the lovely Vanessa Teklenburg. I'm really looking forward to sharing about the 4 agreements. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing? Welcome.
Good. I'm good. Loving the content so far. All right, so I've got 10 minutes and Byron's asked me to share some insight.
You can talk for longer than that.
Okay.
You can talk for like 15, 20 minutes. If just let it flow.
All right, cool. Let's see how long my boys give me, all right? All right, so Byron's asked me to share some insights on the introduction to the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, this is a book that I haven't read, and it's a book that's been on my book list for years. And so I was really grateful that Byron was like, here's the nudge, read it, bring it to the top of your book list. So I'm gonna share with you the stuff that really resonated and some really key points from the introduction. So he starts off, and this is something that jumped out at me really quickly, is that his language is quite different. I don't know if you found this, Byron. His language is very, very different to most I mean, what he's talking about isn't anything, well, so far, because I haven't finished reading the book, but his language is very, very different. And in fact, some words, I'm going to share with you in a second, some words are completely opposite to what other people will talk about. And everyone knows this, but most spiritual personal growth teachers and gurus, everyone's talking about the same thing, but it's just everyone has a different way of bringing it across, and I guess connecting with different people. So he first of all introduces us to this concept that everyone is a mirror, and that we don't actually recognize the light in the next person. We don't recognize the light in ourselves, and we don't recognize the light in other people. We don't recognize the power that created all the stars out there. The power of the universe is in that person, and the thing that's preventing us from seeing that is the smoke. So he calls it the smoky mirror, and that smoke is not only what keeps us from knowing and really honoring the other person, but it keeps us from honoring who we are. And so this smoke he calls the dream. Now this is where you kind of have to wrap your head around, because we all talk about the dream as a more positive thing, like the vision that we're reaching for, that really a space that we want to step into. He talks about the dream as, you can translate that as the belief system. So he talks about the dream of the planet, the dream of the collective, the personal dream, and the dream of the collective, or the dream of a country, might be made up of billions of dreams of us. So the dream of a family, dream of a community, these are all made up of rules and beliefs and cultures that we all pick up on, and we adopt. So I'm going to use the word beliefs because it's easier for everyone, because we think of dream and we go, oh, dream, and we open up. But he's talking about dream as beliefs, and so we adopt these beliefs as children, and we agree to them as children. And this is the process that he calls the domestication of humans. So we get domesticated through our parents, through home, through school, through church, through TV, through the wider culture. And then through this process of domestication, this is where we learn to judge. We learn to judge ourselves, and we learn to judge other people. And I think most of us here, we're all on the personal growth journey. This is nothing new, but I think it's really interesting when we read something different, that's a different language, because we all hear this, at times when you hear the same phrases over and over and over again, it becomes cliche and it doesn't actually land. So for instance, we hear over and over again, start to release the limiting beliefs that don't serve you. Right? And you hear that over and over and over and over again, that it just ceases to have any meaning. There's none of that language in here, but he's talking about exactly the same thing. So it wakes you up a little bit more. So from that perspective, even though we probably all know this, it's just great because it's different language. And if you get, as I do, I love language, and I love it when people can use the power of language to kind of have me see a different perspective. So so he goes on to say that we become so well trained and so very well domesticated that we don't actually need the parents and the culture or the church to keep us domesticated. We end up domesticating ourselves. And when I was reading this, the image that popped into my head instantly was a cage. So our parents, and obviously just through the way that they were obviously brought up, if you think of I just thought of a metal cage, and through that conditioning and through that programming, we're kept in this cage. That's the domestication that he's talking about. And we keep ourselves in that cage, even when the door of that cage is wide, wide open and we see a very, very clear way out. And so this is what he's saying. He's saying that we become so well trained that we just end up domesticating ourselves. And we can't, and these are my words, that we can't leave the cage even when we realize the door is wide open. And so we keep ourselves stuck. And this is how well the programming is, how well the conditioning is, or how well domestication is. And he says it, and he calls it the book of law. So if you think of it, the door of the cage is wide open. But see, when we want to step outside, which is starting to go against that conditioning, we feel that fear. And he says about we feel the fear in our solar plexus. So stepping outside of that cage means that we're going to end up feeling that fear, which is terrifying. It's scary. And so most people on this planet stay in that cage, even when that door is wide open. And even when we know, as he says, the book of law, even when we know it's wrong, it's actually safer. So it feels safe versus stepping out and going against this book of law. And so we stay stuck. He says 95% of the beliefs we have stored in our minds are nothing but lies, and we suffer because we believe all these lies. And so we create all this suffering. So there's human suffering on a global scale, as we can see out there with all the injustices and the violence, but there's also suffering that we create ourselves through staying in that domesticated cage, if you like, and also, through the anger and the jealousy and the revenge and all. He talks about different emotions. What I love, and this really resonated with me as someone who grew up in a very strict churchy setting. I grew up in a Coptic Orthodox church. I was forced to go as a child until I was 14 and in Egypt. And religion, I see, and I'm not religious at all anymore. I'm a spiritual being, but I'm not religious. But I see, just a side note here, I don't know if anyone resonates with this, but I see all these beautiful images and sharings from doTERRA leaders who go to church in Utah, and they come out and they share their positive messages. And that's not the church that I grew up in. Let's just say that, right? So the church that I grew up in, God, is a punishing God, and there are sins and there is hell, and you will be punished. And everyone's living their life in fear of that hell. But of course, when you wake up from, as I wake up from that reality, you realize, as Don Miguel Ruiz says, that the hell is the suffering that we are living right now. It's not something that we have to fear. It's what we're living right now. So he makes this comparison of the dream. So this is what he says. He makes this comparison of the dream of human society with the description of hell that religions talk about. And I love this. So hell is a punishment, it's fear, it's pain, it's suffering. And so religion is kind of fearing it. And yet the irony is, well, you're living it. You're actually living that hell, because the emotions, whether it's anger or revenge or jealousy or whatever it might be, causes this fire within us, he says. And we're already punishing ourselves. So that's it's funny how religions, and I get to say this because I lived through it, but you take these things, you kind of take them word for word, when in fact they're all metaphors. And so this is the hell for a lot of people, right? If you're not kind of aware, or So he talks about he goes on to say that when we're not honoring, when we're trying to be good enough, we're judging ourselves and we're punishing and abusing ourselves. And that when that belief of not being good enough, that it will depend on how ingrained the early domestication. Now, the second bit that really resonated, and I think for many of us, because even as we go along this personal growth journey, we still, and hands up here, we still step into that blaming mode. And I love, and I'm going to quote him actually, I think, on this bit. He says, "Nobody has ever abused you more than you have abused yourself. The limit of your self-abuse is exactly the limit that you will tolerate from someone else." Isn't that, it's pretty profound, right? So he talks about self-love, because the more that you adopt various practices, or however you do that, however you start to fill that bank of self-love, then the less that you're going to reject yourself, the less you're going to abuse yourself. These are his words. The less that you're going to feel that you're not good enough. And then you can begin to unravel those beliefs around not being perfect. And then, of course, the knock-on effect of that is that people, because you will only tolerate as much as you are giving to yourself, the rest of the world will start to respond to that. So as you love and respect and honor yourself more and more and more, so does the world then responds to that. And that's what he's talking about. And it's so powerful because it's so easy, and it would be the role of the victim to blame that they are treating me that way, or and because it's easier, we get to then give away our power, and so this is a beautiful reminder that, and again, we all know this, I know this, but I don't know that I've ever read it in so many words, that the limit of your self-abuse is exactly the limit that you will tolerate from someone else. It's really profound, that the way he's worded that. And so then this is the last bit really of the introduction. He talks about each time you break an agreement, and by this he means, in our language speak, every time you release a limiting belief, the power that you use to create it returns to you. And again, this isn't something I've ever thought about. In my head, it's like a shedding. So I've always thought of it as an onion. So it's not about becoming someone else. It's really about shedding all that domesticated stuff, all the conditioning, all the programming. And then you actually, the wholeness, it's already there. And so what you're doing is creating space. What he's saying, which is amazing and powerful, is that the power, each time you break an agreement, and he says that we have thousands and thousands of agreements that we took on and adopted from an early age. Every time you break one, the power that you use to create it returns to you. And so what he's inviting us, this is the end of the introduction, he invites us to adopt these 4 agreements to really, really create that personal power. I'm just reading Tracy's. So the 4 agreements, which are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And so at the same time that he's encouraging us to break our thousands of agreements that we took on from an early age, he's asking us to, more importantly, adopt these, I guess, because nature abhors a vacuum, right? So that if we're releasing all this stuff and we're breaking all these agreements, we want to replace them with something positive. That's it really. I really, really enjoyed the introduction, and it specifically resonated with me on various levels, and I love how it's different way of explaining something that we've read thousands of times in other texts, but it's great because it does that make sense what I'm saying, Byron? How it's
absolutely. Yeah, no, that was brilliant. And I think you hit the nail on the head there, where just something paraphrased or perceived differently can often be the ticket or the way that it actually sinks in and resonates with us, rather than that same thing again and again and again. It's kind of like conditioning from our parents, isn't it? You have a limiting belief, you have a limiting, and that all you're receiving is, I have a limiting belief, and you're actually suppressing, suffocating, and reducing your effect by just hearing that again and again. So it's refreshing to hear things in a different perspective.
Yeah, it is. And
I think that was great. You did awesome.
Yeah, great. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity too. Thank you for the nudge. Yeah. Nothing like can you come and talk to a whole bunch of people? It's like, well, it's just accountability. I love the power of accountability. I have to show up and talk about something, and therefore I get to not just benefit. It's just great. I love that. Yeah.
And I knew you'd be good for it.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, because Vanessa regularly does reflections on books in groups. So she's got experience. I'm sure you guys can tell in the introduction that you provided. So thank you so much, Vanessa.
Oh, pleasure. I'll mute myself now so you can carry on.
Thank you so much. I'll just bring up the presentation again. We'll go back to our screen share. So Vanessa, wasn't she fantastic? Thank you so much, guys. And the whole, the religion side of things, I don't think it really matters what you believe in and what your religious belief is. These 4 agreements can be adopted into whatever belief system you have. These agreements are belief, I believe, in yourself, and it's all about self-empowerment. You know, one thing that I've learned along the way is, you know, in this growth journey, like Vanessa was saying, we're all growing, and this is such an essential part of what we're doing. This is an essential oil business, or a personal growth business wrapped up in essential oils, right? It just so happens that essential oils work so well with you know, addressing emotional concerns and unlocking some of these limiting beliefs or the dream. So one fact that I heard, because I love facts and figures, is 50%, and this comes along the lines of Bruce Lipton's biology of belief and epigenetics, and how they're scientifically proving how you can change your genetic makeup through the power of mind and the choices that you make on a daily basis. 50% of the person you become is your conditioning from your upbringing. So, you know, the responsibility of parents, it's a big one. And at the same time, we can't really beat ourselves up when we've inherited some of those conditional beliefs and conditions and laws, agreements, and dreams from our parents. And sometimes that will be limiting us to breaking through because of that safety, right? Like, that's why I chose my career in IT, because it was safe. I was really good at music and sports and art, but I chose IT, which I hated because it was a safe option, and I could always get a job that was, you know, something that, a choice that I made, and I got no regrets. I've grown from that. Back to our statistics, 40% is your choice. So we still have so much power in that conditional upbringing state. 10% is your association, so the people that you're around. So yeah, just be aware of these things. It's all just comes back to awareness, really. We can't beat ourselves or anyone else up around us. It's all we're doing is just being really observant and making choices based on awareness. So our events and promotions that we've got in June, we've already shared the Lifelong Vitality promotion that's going over July and August. So I encourage you guys to really focus on your enrollments in July and perhaps even incentivize them. I did think for a moment, oh, well, we can really utilize the US enrollment promo in July and encourage people to enroll with a US kit, right? And then they get a free Copaiba and Wild Orange. Who wouldn't want that? But if you read the fine print on the, sorry, that should say July events and promotions. If you have a look at the fine print on the Lifelong Vitality promo, it has to be an Australian enrollment order and an LRP. So that's, we can't do that, but what we can do is look at incentivizing in some of the ways that we were suggesting earlier on in this meeting, and then focusing on that education, either through Wellness Consult and or our Oil Academy. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. It can really help empower and save you guys time as well. And it's proving to be really good. So upcoming events, I've got a Winter Remedies workshop, which is going to be online and on site on Thursday, the 5th. Invite people along to that. Anyone that comes along, obviously, you know, they come back to you if they enroll. We've got the Oil Academy, which is going to run once again from the 2nd Tuesday, as it will every month, to the end of the month. So we can add people into that and help people get the most out of their kit in their wholesale account. And then we're also going to have another Thrive Through Winter in July promo. So this is our spoil promo, but we're just calling that Thrive Through Winter in July, giving it a seasonal spin, just a bit of fresh content and making it more relevant for this time of year. And of course, we've got the leadership retreat on the Gold Coast, and I'm also looking to run a men's health workshop in August. I've had a lot of people request this, so I thought I'd plan ahead and put the feelers out for either a Thursday night, the 23rd, or Saturday afternoon, the 25th. So take a look at the Share Build group, have a little vote on what date works best for you and your man or men in your life. I'd love to have them along. And I will even be incorporating a little bit about the business and how men can be supportive of their ladies in their business as well. We've got the 2 products of the month there, Lime for Australia, Cedarwood for the US. Obviously, it's 125 PV, LRP on or before the 15th of each month is the only way you get the free product of the month. And these groups have been created. So Oil Academy, which kicks off on the 10th, the group has been created. The content hasn't been loaded, but you can start adding people to that group if you like. That's the URL there. If you haven't checked it out, check it out, and perhaps even invite people that you've struggled to get along to a wellness consult, some people that you want to get back in contact with and reignite the passion for essential oils. They could be happy to do to educate themselves online in their own time. It's just another platform for these people to be able to learn and utilize their oils. Here's a URL for the Thrive Through Winter in July group. I am looking to be launching it between the 17th and the 21st. I realize some of us are going to be on leadership retreat. But I'm also mindful of it being too close to the end of the month, like in June. So this gives us a week to be able to follow people up and perhaps get enrollments over the line in July or as people are ready. And just touching on the whole Thrive Through Winter promo last month in June, it was a little slow with the enrollment uptake. Don't be too disheartened because sometimes it takes several exposures or touches for people to realize, to get the experience or want the oils in their life. So don't be disheartened if all the people that you've invited to the Thrive promo don't go and jump on to getting a kit straight away. They could be A, saving up, B, not fully converted or believe in the oils yet, and that's fine. It might just take a little bit of encouragement or a correct use that resonates with them, and just continue to follow them up without fire hosing them. You don't want them to block you on Messenger and delete you from Facebook and avoid your phone calls and your text messages. So just in time, they'll come around and give people a bit of space. If you've reached out and they've said no, just get a little bit gauged to where they're at. So in parting words, I wanted to share some figures for you. This is from an elite retreat, which was fantastic, and I can't wait to help organise and host elite retreat on the Central Coast for potentially the New South Wales community. To have that based on the Central Coast, I think it is going to be awesome. Renee's a little bit scared, given with plans for babies and all that sort of stuff around that time, but I'm never scared to tackle anything, and I've got an awesome team that can help me, right? So stay tuned in that space, elite retreat on the Central Coast. But if you have struggles with belief, and especially for men or people that are more left brain, logical, numbers based people, is if you're struggling with the belief behind the opportunity, just wanted to share some of these figures with you guys. So this is global sales for these industries. We've got American football, huge. We see the advertising for American football the budget is massive to get into those slots for the Super Bowl. So a big industry, 9.5 billion, massive. Keeping in mind, doTERRA is a $1 billion company. Music industry, $15 billion. It's big. One that I didn't think would be trumping the music industry, and perhaps may have been a little bit around the other way in the 80s, but the video gaming industry, way too many people are playing video games at $76 billion. Huge. Movie industry. We all know this is a big and successful industry, $88 billion. And the natural foods industry, which is a growing industry, 90 billion. But the next one is gonna really excite you, and it's network marketing. It's 178 billion in global sales. So if people start to doubt that, this opportunity isn't real, if they don't believe in it, then feel free to share these figures with them, because this is quite compelling, and it's just proof that it is a huge and growing industry. And doTERRA has only really just begun in terms of the maturity as a company, especially in Australia. It's only 10 years old. It's the biggest essential oil company in the world now. And it's by no means anywhere near the biggest network marketing company in the world, which is a high possibility, I believe, in the way that doTERRA is tracking. And we all get a portion of the shares of the profit of the company as we go up through the leadership pools. So this is really exciting for us. So I would like to thank you guys so much for attending this evening. And next month's meeting is actually going to be on the 31st of July. And I'm just going to throw it out there. Jody, are you with me? Can I have it at your place? I don't think she's with us online. But anyway, we will be going to leadership and then straight to New Zealand in July. I'm going to Eric Waugh's GoPro training in just over a week's time, which I'm really excited about. And then straight to leadership retreat on the Gold Coast. And then we're going to New Zealand. We're going to be doing Aroma Touch and business training over in New Zealand for the greater community and Olivia Reed's team. So I'll be away for a bit, but I will obviously still be contactable and have my finger on the pulse. So hope you all enjoyed this evening. Thank you so much. Please feel free to take yourself off mute, ask questions. I'm just going to stop recording and bid my...
Hey, Byron, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just put it in the chat, but the US promo, is that just for people enrolling in the US, or is it for us enrolling people through the US warehouse with Australian accounts?
Yeah, so I tested this. So for people who are getting their products shipped to Australia, but are enrolling with a US enrollment order, they can get the wild orange and the Cadby. Okay. Yeah. And I did actually ask on the Diamond group and I got one response, and this is the response I got was amazing. When I asked the question was, is this available to us? So yeah, I just went and tested it, and that's that screenshot that I put on that question that you raised in the share build group. And
yeah, because it was working the night before when I put in, I just ordered 4 frankincense and the Cadby and the wild orange came up. I was so excited.
Was that for an enrollment order? Or was that
No. I went through, I amended my own LRP through the US, and I added just to get it up to 200 PV. It was my own order, and the Cadby and the wild orange came up. So it was an error, but obviously they just took it down. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I saw a couple of people mention that to say, yeah, it was a mistake. But
yeah, okay.
Wouldn't that been awesome?
So do you think then, are you incentivizing anyone ordering cleanse supplements through the US so they can get the free Cadby? Are you doing anything like that?
You know what, that's a really good idea. So see, what you've done there is you've just seen how you can utilize what doTERRA is incentivizing and aligning that with an enrollment kit. So the Cleanse and Restore kit.
Yeah.
Fantastic idea. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And Vanessa, I understand you've just completed a cleanse and restore thing, month long, which you need to get your terrors on.
Yeah. So I'm nearing the end of my 30-day cleanse, and we've just done a huge push on the cleanse in our group, and just a whole thing around the cleanse. So it's the energy's up, and people understand the benefits of the cleanse, and so I'm thinking that might be quite a good idea. Yeah. So thanks. Yeah.
And we need to make sure too that if anyone's doing US orders, now that we're paying GST on US orders.
Yeah, the 10%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's thanks for reminding us about that, Tracy. Perhaps a good idea you guys could do, because I'm thinking of running a cleanse and restore group in September, given it's spring cleanse time. Is people could even get their kit this month in July, and September is going to be here in no time at all. And then in September, actually using that cleanse and restore kit, because it takes a while to get all your things together. And maybe even just prepare yourself mentally and physically, and also time schedule wise as well, to block out that month to be able to cleanse and restore. It's a fairly rigorous process, as you know, Vanessa, to go through. There's a lot of purging, there's a lot of energies that sometimes are depleted or shifting during that cleanse and restore process. Oh, what are the cleanse items? Hey, Tans. So what are the cleanse items you need to do that cleanse? I have people on my team wanting to do the cleanse. Okay, cool. So Vanessa, you've just had a question. Do you want to talk us through the things that you need to do the cleanse?
Sure. So the doTERRA supplements are, you start off, there's 3 phases. There's the activate, the reset, and the renew. So if you look up a really easy way, if you just Google body cleanse makeover and the word, and then just doTERRA, it'll come up. They did a whole double spread feature in a living magazine, and they called it the body cleanse makeover. They do differ. Like there's the body cleanse makeover that was in the living magazine, and if you compare it to another place that has it on the doTERRA website, there's slight differences with the DDR prime. Anyway, but the basics are, the first 10 days you're doing lemon in your water, lifelong vitality, Terrazyme with every meal, 1 to 3 with every meal, depending on how nutrient dense the food is. Zendocrine complex and the Zendocrine detoxification blend, but none of us in our team are doing Zendocrine complex, because when we all ordered ours, Zendocrine complex was out of stock, so none of us are doing Zendocrine complex. So that's the first 10 days, and then the next 10 days it's the cleanse. So you are taking a GX Assist for 10 days. And you can take up to 3 a day, but the recommendation is that you start with 1 just to see how your system can take it, because it's pretty powerful with all the oregano in it. And then so you do that for the 10 days in the middle, and then for the final 10 days you stop the GX Assist, and then you're repopulating your gut flora with the PB Assist and DDR Prime. So that's where I am. I'm in the final phase where I'm taking PB Assist 3 times a day and the DDR Prime AM and PM. I remember when I first, when I was an elite, and I put the cleanse together, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't remember this, and I don't understand this, and why that. And the only way to understand this and be able to teach anything is to do it ourselves, right? And having done this cleanse a few times now, you understand, and because I need to be able to teach people with the difference between, say, Zendocrine complex and Zendocrine detoxification blend, I just say to all my leaders, you can't teach anything unless you do it yourself and understand it yourself. It's the best way, and through the process you get to clean and clear out. I'm also doing recommendations to people that it's not just cleaning out the body, but cleaning out everything. Like start decluttering in your home and declutter your inbox, and do some holistic cleansing practices like dry skin brushing and oil pulling. I've taken up oil pulling through this cleanse, and I'm loving it. So it's a really great opportunity to because this is where for me, this is where it is. It's the lifestyle. And then people start to, they eliminate the gluten or eliminate the dairy, and PB Assist and Lifelong Vitality and Terrazyme and DDR Prime. These are daily products. They're not just a cleanse thing that you do a couple of times a year. So then you can start to introduce some of the supplements that are daily use. Yeah. So I feel it's really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's I like how you've sort of omitted a part of that cleanse protocol, and you're completely okay with that, because what I recommend to people is, if it feels overwhelming, then that's okay to omit the parts that you're not comfortable with, or perhaps you can't afford, or you can't find time to get into your day. The main part that I really recommend to everybody is the GX and the PB Assist.
Yeah.
Is that's the main part of it. You can take the Lifelong Vitality throughout it. I think this is a really good opportunity to introduce this to people.
Yeah.
And then of course you got the other fantastic products in there, DDR Prime and Terrazyme, which you can use every day, and the Zendocrine the complex and gel caps are also fantastic. Heavy metal detoxification and liver detoxification products as well. If I was to omit anything from this image that you can see,
Slim and Sassy, yeah,
I'd just get rid of this Slim and Sassy.
We can't get the shakes anyway anymore, so I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get a vegan shake, but
we can. Yeah. I mean, there's lemon in the water. Oh, there's no. See, that's a different plan again. So yeah, I think lemon in the water. Everyone's got lemon. So I just say lemon in the water, and I don't talk about this lemon sassy. It's too, yeah. Oh, it does say alternate with lemon. Yeah.
Yeah. I think another really important part about this, and this was shared by the name was there, but now it's gone. It'll come to me. So at One Tree, a lady, and if you remember her name while I'm explaining this, was talking about this cleanse and restore and how important it is to be alkalizing your diet at the same time that you're doing this cleanse and restore. And Vanessa talked about physically cleaning out, doing a spring clean out your inbox, perhaps underneath the house, your shelves, your cupboards, and detoxing some thoughts as well, some thoughts that you don't need in your life anymore, and replacing them with some nice agreements. So it's so much more than just these products.
Yeah.
And Chantel Roloff.
Yes, Chantel Roloff. That's it. Yeah.
And she really accentuated the importance of alkalizing your diet, removing gluten and bread and other stimulants, coffee,
alcohol, caffeine,
alcohol, caffeine, gluten, dairy.
Yeah,
I believe,
and processed food like junk food. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you can limit meat, I think we can all limit our meat consumption personally.
Not caffeine, Tanya says.
No, not the caffeine. Look, you can do it for a month. I love coffee. Like I have a cup of coffee, and I really enjoy it. But I think it's important to also have a break from coffee as well. So I do a cleanse and restore, or I will sometimes just go, I just feel like I need to have a break from coffee, and I'll have a break for a week. But we can all do with a month of caffeine, alcohol, gluten, and dairy, and just bring more fruits and vegetables into our life, and water and breath, more importantly, rest, all these things that just complement this cleanse and restore. Awesome, guys. Well, I might leave it at that on the time, and thank you all for joining me and providing your feedback and lovely faces and energy. And I look forward to seeing you the next time we meet each other. Well, before you go, what is the cost? Okay, so what is the cost? So the cost of the Cleanse and Restore kit, I'm just bringing it up now, sorry. And the best way to find this, you can actually get the Cleanse and Restore kit through your account if you've already got your account, which we all do. Cleanse and Restore. Sorry, I'm looking at US. So if we go to US products, and just so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So I've just gone to US products and just going to type in cleanse. Cleanse, so AU, NZ, NFR, Cleanse and Restore Enrollment Kit. So you can see the PV value there, and Vanessa noted this before. Perhaps we could do this 200 PV promo and take advantage of the wild orange and the Copaiba, but just keep in mind it is 175 PV, that enrollment kit, but there you have the price. So it's US $294 for that enrollment kit. That might be slightly different price as an enrollment kit in comparison, but it's around about that $300 mark. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you so much. There we go. So Kylie, thank you. Converts to about 305 Australian dollars. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate you all joining tonight and look forward to catching up very soon. Bye-bye. 2H.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
See ya.